Good morning. It's 8 o'clock, and that means that I'm right on time, and so are you, by the way, for this morning flow. Today's flow, I put it on Instagram already. It's going to be a gentle flow, meaning that there's not too much crazy stuff in today's practice. But it will be an energetic flow. So it will be, there will be movements with a lot of flow elements in it. Some power, like you'll need your strength, your legs will be working, and of course, so will your core. But I designed it to gently start off your day, sort of to ease into your day. So, what do you need for today's practice? Basically nothing. Of course, the yoga mat is helpful, and you can have a folded blanket to sit up on, but it's not necessary. Just taking off my socks here. This room is a little bit cold, so I'm still wearing my sweater as well. Make yourself comfortable in a seated position. Can be any position, cross-legged, with your legs like this, sitting on your knees or your shins. Anything is fine. Just as long as you can sit comfortably for at least a couple of minutes here. So once you've found that seated position, gently close your eyes if that feels good to you. We're going to use a couple of minutes to arrive on our yoga mats this morning, to start off our practice in a focused way. So, sitting here on your yoga mat, decide for yourself that the next hour is going to be just for you. It's going to be a little less than 60 minutes for you to focus on your body. To pay attention to anything that's going on there. And to observe anything that stands out. And if nothing stands out, then just notice that nothing stands out, that it's all more or less feeling the same. Doesn't really matter, but just observe. As always, bring your attention first of all to your sitting bones. Press them into your mat, or maybe you're sitting on your blanket. Push them into your blanket and start to lengthen out from there. Notice how tall you can be in a seated position. Nice. Gently bring your attention to your breath. How is your breath this morning? Are you able to breathe more deeply into your belly? Or is your breath slightly higher up in your chest? Do you feel like you're using all your lung capacity, so really filling up those lungs completely, or are you not? Are you saving some? And if you're saving some, I invite you to start using more and more of that lung capacity. You're sitting up straight, so there is a lot of room for you to breathe into the body. Try to use that space that you've created. Really breathe in deeply all the way down to your lungs, filling them up completely, and notice how your body expands here. it doesn't only expand to the front, but most likely you'll be able to notice how it expands to the sides as well. Maybe if you pay real close attention, you can notice it expanding to the back too. Try to breathe in and out through your nose. If you have Ujjayi breathing in your practice, gently get into that now. And if you need a little reminder of what Ujjayi breath was, it's like trying to fog up a mirror over your sunglasses so you can clean them. So you try to squeeze that upper part of your throat just slightly, and then you breathe out. You can do this with your mouth open. You can also do it with your mouth closed. Kind of imitating the sound of the sea there, the waves rushing up the shore. If you can do it on the out breath, maybe you can also do it on the in breath. Gently breathing in and out through your nose so your mouth is closed, imitating the sound of the waves rushing up the shore. And try to maintain to breathe this way throughout your practice. It's a challenge, but as soon as you notice you've lost this way of breathing, then gently pick it up again. How does your body feel this morning? What have you observed so far? Ease into your body, ease into your practice. Ease into your breath. And gently blink open your eyes, not too fast. And transition to an all fours position. So you can roll over your knees like this. Gently get your blanket out of the way if it was in the way. And make your way to an all fours position. If you're thinking like, hey, not again all fours, I promise it's going to be slightly different from the one that we did on Tuesday. So spread your fingers wide, make sure that your wrists are underneath your shoulders, and give those shoulders a couple of rolls backwards. Feels good. You can of course also give it a roll forwards, but this rolling backwards movement is going to slow down until your shoulder blades are folded onto your back. From there on, press into the hands. Kind of tuck the lower ribs in as well and squeeze your belly button towards your spine. So you squeeze it in towards your spine, and then maybe you can pull it up slightly. So you're making your upper body really strong. If we move a little bit more down to the body, we come to the hips. The hips are supposed to be straight on top of the knees. And now you push your sacrum away from the top of your head. So there's a lot of movement going on, a lot of things you have to pay attention to. But it will help you prepare the body. Tops of the feet are gently resting onto the mat here. Now first we're going to take a couple of rounds cat-cow pose. So on the next breath in, you're going to arch the spine, gently look up. On the next out breath, you're going to round the spine, look towards your belly button. Really press those hands into the mat before you start to arch the spine again on the in-breath. This is supposed to be a cow. I thought about this long and hard, but I can't picture a cow grazing somewhere if I use my imagination. And this is the cat pose. So really rounding the spine. My cats do it all the time, so that's easy for me to imagine. On the in breath, arch the spine one more time, wake up. On the out breath, one last time, round it. And then come back to a neutral position. So remember, your hands are still pressing firmly into the floor. If you have some wrist issues, then really make sure the tops of your fingers are pressing into the mat. So you're using the whole capacity of your hand and not just the wrists. Focus on that. See if something changes. Now on the next breath out, you're going to kind of bring your body towards the left side and gaze to your left hip. Side stretch on the right side of the body. On the in breath, return to the middle. On the out breath, side stretch to the right. So you look to your right hip. And come back to the middle. One more time on both sides and move on the pace of your breath. So the out breath, look towards the left, stretch the right side. The in breath, return to the middle. The other out breath, look towards the right hip, side stretch on the left of the body. In breath, return to the middle. Now gently tuck your toes under, press your sitting bones in the direction of your heels and enjoy a stretch in your toes. Don't force anything. Gentle stretching of the toes, so we're waking them up as well. All right. Now press those fingertips into the mat firmly again. And transition to your first downward facing dog. And probably you now get reacquainted with your hamstrings, with your calf muscles. And be gentle with them. So bend your one knee, stretch the other leg, vice versa. So you walk your dog and do it all in a gentle way. So really take the time to wake up your body here. It's a morning flow. And I promised you it will be gentle, so be gentle. Maybe you want to look in this position to your left when you stretch out your left leg and bend your right knee. And do it the other way around, just like we did in cat-cow pose, but then differently. You can also move your hips. Do whatever it is that you feel like you need. Then come to stillness. Bend your knees slightly, and without wobbling too much from left to right, you're going to walk your hands back towards your feet, and you come to a forward fold position. You can bend your knees and really fold that upper body. It's a forward fold, so you fold your upper body over the upper leg, so to speak. And you just hang out there. And again, walk this position. Now it's not walking the dog. I don't know what it is that you would be walking, but you can bend one knee and keep the other stretched. And then notice where you feel this movement in your hamstrings. Probably you feel it a little bit higher up in your hamstrings, more towards your butt. Don't overstretch the knee of the leg that you have stretched. Just notice how your body feels this morning. Check in with it. Now bend the knees, engage the core muscles, and slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, you start to build your posture up. Don't forget that belly button. Keep it tucked in and slightly up. Give your shoulders a nice rolling movement backwards a couple of times. And then you find yourself in Tadasana. Good. Okay. So on the in-breath, take the arms up, Shoulders remain nice and relaxed. Now you're going to extend that movement a little bit more towards the back. Slight arch here, not too much, just a slight arch. And from here on, you're going to lower the arms, bring the chin into the chest, and start to roll down again. Gently. Now walk your hands to the front. And there you are in a high plank pose. Your heels, your hips, and your shoulders are in one straight line, and those shoulder blades are folded onto the back, remember? You press your hands firmly into the mat, and your fingers are spread wide. Now bring your knees on the mat, untuck the feet. Shift a little bit more weight, just a slight bit forward, then bend the elbows, have them point towards the back and lower the chest on the out breath. On the in breath, roll those shoulders backwards, just like we did before. Lift the chest, cobra pose. On the out breath, lower down. Now, I'm not sure if you can fully see me, so just in case, I'm going to switch here, because I know this angle works for sure. From here, laying onto your belly, you're going to bring your hands a little bit further. Remember spider hands that I talked about a couple of classes ago. So you place your hands wider and a little bit more to the front, and then you rest onto your fingertips. We're going to do a cobra pose again, but notice the difference. If you push those fingers into the mat, squeeze your upper leg muscles so your knees are lifted off the floor, and just notice what this does to the body. Keep your shoulders away from the ears. And on the out breath, lower down. One more time. On the in breath, lift the chest. And on the out breath, lower down. Bring your hands in line with your chest again. Tuck your toes under and push your hands up straight. Then you press your sitting bones towards the heels and transition to downward facing dog again. Now stay in this downward facing dog for a couple of breaths as I take off my sweater. Keep breathing into the posture, and remember what we focused on when we were sitting. We focused on creating, or at least using, as much space for your breath in the body as possible. Can you do that same thing now in downward facing dog? So can you use the front of the body, the sides of the body, and the back of the upper body? Can you expand all of those three directions in order to have more space to breathe? And can you hold on to that ujjayi breathing that we practiced? All right. Now gently bend your knees. Look through your hands towards the front. And walk, step, or jump your feet between your hands. And then we come back to that forward fold position. Your knees are bent slightly. It's still morning, so no need to stretch those legs and try to push and stretch yourself further. No, bend the knees. Just fold the body over and hang out. The next breath in, you're going to slide your hands up towards your shins, or if you feel like it, you can also slide them up a little bit higher. But the main focus of this posture is to have an elongated spine, like a tabletop. You tuck the lower ribs in, your belly button is still tucked in. And on the next out breath, forward fold again. Step your right foot back, step your left foot back, and then you're back in a high plank pose. Now, place your knees on the mat on the out breath. Untuck the toes. Lower down. And on the next breath in, take your chest up, cobra pose. Elbows are pointing backwards. Next breath out, lower the chest down, tuck the toes under, and push yourself back to a downward facing dog. Now engage your core muscles and start to walk your hands backwards again. So without wobbling too much to the left and the right. And then come back to a forward folded position on the back of your mat. Bend your knees, engage your core muscles. On the next breath in, slide your hands up, tabletop. Next breath out, lower down. Bend your knees a little bit more, engage your core, and on the next breath in, you're going to build yourself up completely. Taking your arms up towards the ceiling. Maybe give yourself a little bit of a back bend, not too much. And on the out breath, maybe hands to touch in front of your chest. Good. All right. From here on, I'm just going to walk a little bit more to the middle of you so you can see me. You're going to stay at the back of your mat. We're going to come to a chair pose, so Utkatasana. The next breath in, you're going to bend your knees, bring your sitting bones backwards, and bring your arms upwards. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. And focus on rotating if possible. It's hard to imagine, but you can bring your attention towards it. Focus on internally rotating your upper leg muscles. So you're kind of turning your legs a little bit more inside without actually doing it, but you will notice that your butt muscles are engaging more here. If they are more engaged, it's easier for you to stretch out, to open that chest a little bit more. On the next out breath, fold forwards again. Next in breath, slide your hands up, tabletop. Next out breath, forward fold. Step your left foot back, step your right foot back, back in high plank pose. And the next out breath, with or without knees, lower yourself down towards the floor. On the in breath, take a cobra pose or an upward facing dog. And on the next out breath, downward facing dog. Nice, good. From here on, you're going to lift the right leg on the in breath and stretch it out. And feel what is happening to your left calf muscle now. There's a stretch going on there. Maybe on the next breath in, you can lift your right leg up a little bit higher. Doesn't have to be, but just try. And on the next out breath, you're going to take that right knee in, round the spine, just like we did in cat pose, and then gently place your right foot onto the mat. Bring your left knee onto the mat, untuck the toes. All right. Make sure that your right knee is straight on top of your right ankle here. And on the next breath in, you're taking your arms upwards. Your shoulders remain nice and relaxed, so you don't pull them up to your ears, like, ugh, but you gently let them hang there. Your arms are active though, so your arms are reaching. It's like a counter movement, opposite moving. All right. Now place your hands onto your hips. Make sure that you notice how your hips are feeling now. Your hips are pointing towards the front. On the next breath in, you're going to lift the chest up, just the chest. And on the next out breath, you're going to press your hips equally towards the front. Now your right knee can be over your right ankle if that's available to you. For me, you will see it's minimal movement, but I'm definitely getting a stretch in my hips and on my left quadriceps here. On the in breath, returning backwards, but we're continuing that movement towards the back, stretching out the front leg. You can even bring the front toes up towards your nose. Keep your balance. Now you can place your fingertips onto the mat. You'll feel an even deeper stretch on your right hamstring. And the next in breath, lift your chest. Next out breath, tilt forwards from the pelvis, just a couple of millimeters to get an even deeper stretch on your right leg. Don't overdo it. Just asking you to awaken your body here. And on the next in breath, come back again. Now, it's nice to open our shoulders here as well. So on the next breath in, you're coming up. You're interlacing your fingers behind your back. Try to stretch out those arms, opening the shoulders. You can even make that rolling movement again. So rolling backwards, so you're opening the chest, shoulder blades are folded onto your back, and from there on you stretch out. You can squeeze your hand palms together. If that's not available, you can also interlace loosely. Or if it's really tight, find a belt or the towel and take it between your hands like this. If your hands are interlaced, we're going to lift the chest one more time on the next in breath. On the next out breath, we're going to do a modified humble warrior version. We're going to bring the upper body forward and maybe your right shoulder on the inside of your right knee. You don't force your arms over all the way. Just enjoy a little bit more stretching, a little bit opening in the shoulder area. And then on the in breath, gently come up. Good. All right. Again, rid of your interlaced fingers here. Place your hands on both sides of your front foot. Stretch out your back leg. Step your front foot to the back and then flow through your vinyasa. On the out breath, lower down. In breath, cobra or upward facing dog. Out breath, downward facing dog. Good. First, find that stillness again. Maybe also find that ujjayi breathing again if you've lost it. And on the next breath in, you're going to take your left leg up towards the ceiling. Stretch it out and notice what is happening to your right calf muscle. Feel it stretching, feel it waking up. Flex the toes of your left foot to make an even stronger leg. Now the next out breath, take your left knee in, round that spine. And then gently place that left foot onto the mat. Place your right knee onto the mat, untug those toes. And here we are, on the other side. So here your left knee straight on top of your left ankle. On the next breath in, you're going to come up. Take the arms up. Remember, shoulders nice and relaxed. And just hang out here a little bit. Active arms, so they are stretching away. And now bring your attention to your hips. Before I start moving again, try to bring your left hip a little bit more into the socket. So you squeeze a little bit more in, and maybe you push your right hip a little bit more towards the front. Doing that, you're evening out the hips, making them even more square to the mat. All right. Now place your hands onto your hips. Lift the chest on the in breath. And on the next out breath, push your hips forwards. You should feel a nice stretch on your right quadriceps and some opening in your left hip. Don't overdo it. Just enjoy the feeling. Observe how, with each movement that you make, you're waking your body up. Preparing it for another day. Maybe getting rid of some tension that was still lingering there. Now next breath in, you come back. And then we continue that movement again towards the back. So stretching out the front leg. And even take your toes towards your face. That sounds weird, but it's a direction. So you're bringing up your left toes, you're pulling them towards you, and then you place your fingertips onto the mat. This is already quite an intense stretch on your left leg, both the lower part and the hamstring. Next breath in, lift the chest, increasing the stretch even more. And on the out breath, you tilt forwards from the pelvis. Your spine remains straight. It's just a couple of millimeters that you're moving here, but it's intense. And on the next in breath, gently come back. Okay, come up. Now remember, interlace those fingers onto your back. Stretch out the arms if that's available to you. You don't have to bring your hand palms together. Of course, if you can, that's good. But if you can't, it doesn't really matter. Just loosely interlace them then, and then stretch out your arms. Whichever position that you have, even if you have the towel between your arms, we're going to lift the chest on the in breath. On the next out breath, start to tilt forwards. Maybe bring your left shoulder on the inside of your left knee, or bring it close to there. Doesn't have to be there. Don't rest on it because then you stop the movement. Try to bring it on the inside, and then you take your arms slightly more up and over. It's not actually up and over because it stops somewhere, but it's a direction, and you're opening your shoulders here in a gentle way. Because you can't go really that far. It's just a gentle opening here. And on the in breath, lift your chest. Let go of the interlaced fingers. Place your hands to each side of your front foot. Tuck your toes under of the back foot, so stretch out your back leg. Step your front foot to the back, and then flow through your own vinyasa here. On the in breath, cobra or upward facing dog. Out breath, downward facing dog. You can take a child's pose here if you feel like that's a good thing to do. Or else you're gonna stay in this downward dog for at least 4 cycles of breath. So really focus on coming into this posture. And if you're in your child's pose, focus on getting into that child's pose. Don't relax too much, just use it to refocus. Don't use it to let go of all your focus, that would be a shame. Just use it to refocus. Feel your body settling more into the pose. If you were in child's pose, gently make your way back to a downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bend your knees, look through your hands to the front, and walk, step, or jump your feet between your hands. And then you're back into that forward folding position. Next breath in, slide your hands up your shins, tabletop. Next breath out, forward fold again. Bend your knees slightly, engage your core, and on the next breath in, you're going to come up. Take your arms all the way up. Maybe a slight back bend here, don't overdo it, just a gentle back bend. And on the next out breath, hands, palms to each other. Bring your hands down in front of your chest. You can even close your eyes to be even better able to observe how the body is feeling, or more specifically, how your body has changed in the past half hour. Maybe you can notice your heart rate has gone up. And gently blink open your eyes. Now I have to move my mat a little bit because, as most of you know by now, I have a yoga mat with teeny tiny legs that tend to walk backwards all the time. Actually, I'm going to show you like this because here I have a little bit more space and I know for sure that you can see me. So what we're going to do is Garudasana, eagle pose. I don't think I've done it before in my classes, so allow me to take you through that. First thing, starting off in the mountain pose position. So that will be our starting position. Your feet are hip distance apart, your toes are pointing straight forward. That belly button is still tucked in and slightly up. And remember those shoulder blades, huh? You can roll your shoulders backwards one more time, just so your shoulders are folded onto your back or stored into your backpack, whatever works for you. Just make sure that they are there and they can rest there. Keep your body and your posture strong and proud. Lower ribs slightly tucked in. All right, from here on, we're going to come to chair pose first. So we did that before. Now next in-breath, you're going to bring your butt backwards, so your sitting bones are reaching towards the back, and your arms are stretching out in front of you. Your core is working here, so that belly button is really tucked in. You can even touch your belly button here, and notice how your core muscles are working. Just by a movement as simple as bringing your sitting bones backwards, if you press into your belly, you notice that your core is working. Now increase that feeling even more, but because you're really thinking of working your core here. Remember, internally rotating those upper legs as well. The booty is working too. And you lift the chest. Nice chair pose. Heat is starting to build up, so getting warm, your heart rate is going to raise, but that's good. Now you stretch out your arms in front of you. You take your right arm and you bring it a little bit more to the left, and your left arm is going to go on top of that, and then you're going to interlace your hand palms if possible. If that is not possible, hold on to your shoulders, but keep reaching for that chair behind you. That chair that is not quite there, which rise, you keep making this movement. So you're not allowing your body to ease too much. Now notice the stretch into your shoulder blades. You can even bring your arms a little bit higher, increasing the stretch. And you're pushing your elbows away from the body. This is almost Garudasana, except for one thing. Shift a little bit more weight into the left leg, so you can stretch out your right leg. Take your right knee over the left one, and then ease back into that, what is now like a one-legged chair pose. If you have the mobility, you can even bring your toes behind your left lower leg, but in the morning, it might not be so accessible. So you're gonna hang out here. But you keep reaching for that chair. Maybe take your elbows a little bit higher, but keep them pushing away from you. So really feeling a stretch on the back of your upper body between your shoulder blades. If you want to challenge yourself even more, close your eyes, be my guest. It's hard. And then gently ease out of the pose. Let go of the arms. Gently push back up and place your right foot back. Now don't move. Just observe the differences or the changes into your body right now. Is there anything you notice, like a difference between your left leg and your right leg? What else has changed into the upper body? All right. Yeah, because we don't want to walk around like a broken eagle. We're going to do the other side as well, of course. So back into this Tadasana pose. Feet are still hip distance apart, toes are pointing towards the front, belly button in and up, shoulders in your backpack. Good. From here on, first that chair pose. Now you know what's coming. The in-breath, reach backwards, reach for the chair that someone just moved a little bit too far, and then you stretch out your arms in front of you. Some people stretch it all the way high, but then you need some more mobility into your shoulders. If your shoulders are feeling narrow, you can also open the arms a little bit. Now focus on internally rotating your upper legs. Notice how your butt muscles engage even more and how your core is working here. So squeeze in that belly button. Keep your spine nice and straight, chest lifted. Lower the arms in front of you. Now we're going to take the left arm towards the right side, your right arm over the left arm, and then you interlace your hands here. If this is not accessible to you, hold on to your shoulders. But you keep reaching for that chair. Don't cheat. If there's anything like cheating in yoga, I don't think so. But just challenge yourself to keep that movement going, to really use all the strength that you have in your core, in your butt, in your legs. Then shift a little bit more weight to the right leg, not too much, but just a little bit. So you can stretch out your left leg, move your left knee over the right, and then come to your Garudasana. And again, you can try to bring your left toes behind your right lower leg, if that's accessible. If not, you're going to stay here. Reach your elbows away from the upper body, so towards the front, and then maybe slightly up. Enjoying a stretch between your shoulder blades here. Keep holding on, keep reaching backwards with your butt. Lift the chest, engage the core. Good. And then gently let go of the hands. Push yourself back up, come to standing. How does this feel? What can you observe? What has changed? Maybe, I don't know, for some reason I feel like making these movements, maybe swaying around a little bit. It's your practice. It doesn't have to look normal. Just it should feel good. It's your practice, it's your morning, it's your way to start your day. So make the most of it. All right. Now gently blink open the eyes. I was going to say blink open the arms. That's hard. Now, if you're still standing at the top of your mat, good. If you weren't, walk a little bit more towards the front of your mat. On the next breath in, you're taking your arms upwards. On the next breath out, folding forwards from the spine. All right. Next breath in, hands on shins, tabletop. Next breath out, forward fold again. Step your right foot to the back. And now we're going to stay here. So we're not going for a full vinyasa here. We're playing around a little bit. Now you're in a high runner's lunge. Your left knee straight on top of your left ankle. Just checking the time. Yep, we're still good. On the next breath in, you find your balance, and then you're going to come up. Good. Coming all the way up. Now we're not staying here for too long. We're bringing the right arm backwards, opening the body up to a warrior two. Your left knee remains on top of your left ankle here. The outside of your right foot is pressing into the mat, and your right foot, so your back foot, is square to the short edge of your mat. Arms are stretching away from each other. On the next in-breath, you're going to stretch out your front leg. You're going to stay here. Reach your arms away from each other. Your chest is not flaring out, be careful. Your lower rib is still tucked in and your belly button is too. Next breath in, you start to reach forwards. And then you tilt down. So feel stretch on the inside of your left leg. Open your right arm up towards the ceiling, or if that feels uncomfortable for the neck, for example, place your right arm on top of your right hip. If you have your block or your book available, you can rest onto it. I'm demonstrating now with an invisible book or block. Or if you have the space in the morning, maybe bring your fingertips onto the mat. But what you want to avoid is to collapse too much into that left side of the body here, so the lower side. You want to keep as much space there as possible. So better to keep lifted a little bit more than to sink too deep if you don't have that space. All right. Now, some creativity. I hope you can appreciate it. We're going to bend the left leg a little bit. Windmill the arms down. So then we're back into a high lunge. You step your front foot to the back And then you transition to a downward facing dog. Yes, downward facing dog. You didn't see that one coming, did you? Now, from here on, round the spine a little bit more. Come to a plank pose. From here on, we're going to transition to what's called wild thing. So lift your left leg up and over, turn onto the side of your right foot, take your left arm over and reach like over your head towards the back, or what is now actually the front wall. Wild thing. Enjoy a stretch, an opening of the front side of the body. And then gently bring yourself back to that plank pose. And then you do your vinyasa, with or without knees. Lower the chest down on the out breath. Lift the chest up on the in breath. Cobra upward facing dog. On the out breath, downward facing dog. Good. All right, so now we are back in our downward facing dog. Since I have all the freedom I could possibly wish for, now I'm going to lift my left leg up towards the ceiling. Just playing around with different ways to come to different positions here. So on the out breath, round the spine again, take your left knee in, place your left foot onto the mat. Now you place your right foot onto the mat, and you're back into your forward fold. Now what I'm doing here is not making a mess out of the practice. I'm just moving in a different way that you are used to. So the mind is not already a couple of steps ahead. Think like, oh, now probably we're going to this, probably we're going to that. No, really try to stay into the moment and just be curious of what's coming. Next breath in, slide your hands up towards the shin. Tabletop. Next breath out, forward fold. Bend the knees, engage the core, and on the next breath in, you're going to come all the way up. Take the arms up. Maybe enjoy a little back bend. And on the out breath, lower the arms down. Now I'm just going to walk to the other side of the mat so you can see me better. Different way to transition. We're going to, what are we going to do? On the next breath in, you take your arms up. On the next breath out, fold forward, lower down. Next breath in, hands on shins. Next breath out, lower down. Step the left foot backwards this time. Yes, that's it. So there we are in our high lunge on the other side. This time your left foot is the back foot. Time-wise, we're still okay. So if you have your foundation where your right knee straight on top of your right ankle, engage your core muscles. On the next breath in, you're going to come up. High lunge. Good. And just like we did on the other side, we're not going to stay here for long. This time you're taking your left arm backwards, opening the body up to a warrior two position. Right knee remains straight on top of the right ankle. Your arms are stretching away from each other. You can gaze over your right fingertips here, warrior two. Next breath in, stretch out the front leg and stay. Remember to tuck in the lower ribs as well. Now next breath in, you're going to reach forward, forward, forward in a straight line. And from there on, you tilt the body towards the right side. Take your left arm up towards the ceiling. If you have your block, rest onto your block. And if this doesn't feel good for your neck, place your left hand onto your left hip. You're enjoying a stretch on the inside of your right leg here. You're trying to reach the top of your head away from the lower part of the body. So you do have to reach up. That's just a reaching away movement more. All right. Now start to bend your front knee. Place your hands on both sides of your front foot. And there we are in our high lunge again. Stepping that front foot towards the back, and then you transition to downward facing dog. Okay, nice. Reach your sitting bones up and away. Now you can challenge yourself a little bit because we are almost nearing the end of the practice. Notice how your body feels in downward facing dog now. Maybe you can push your sitting bones a little bit more towards the back, maybe a bit more up. Really stretch out your arms, stretch out that spine. And notice how it feels different from the first down dog that you did today. Now, from here on, we're going to roll forwards again, so with a round spine, back to that plank pose. My t-shirt is moving too. Everything's moving this morning. And then you take your right foot over the left, transition onto the side of your left foot, take your right arm up and over. Wild thing on the other side. Now really push the front of your body up towards the ceiling. Maybe you can look towards the back. Maybe you want to remain looking up. But enjoy a full stretch in the front of the body. And then you gently place your hand back in high plank pose. And then you transition for one last time through a vinyasa. So do it in a controlled way. On the in-breath, cobra upward facing dog. Out-breath, downward facing dog. Good. And then you take your knees to the outside of the mat. You have your big toes to touch. You press your sitting bones in the direction or onto your heels. And then you enjoy your child's pose. Now don't think of this as the end of your practice. I said we're nearing the end. It's not entirely the end. So don't let go of everything. Don't let go of your focus. I should say, keep your focus. And keep control over your breathing for just a little bit longer. All right. Now gently push yourself up from that child's pose and come to a seated position. All right. Come to a seated position. Now you place your right foot onto the mat, close to your sitting bones, not super close, but just closer. You flex the toes of your left foot. You place your right fingertips behind you, so you really can stretch out the spine, make a nice and straight spine here. And on the next breath in, you're going to take your left arm up. Next breath out, use those right fingertips to reach forwards. And then fold your left arm around your right knee here. And look over your right shoulder. Keep that left foot flexed. Maybe you want to rest onto your palm now. Maybe you want to rest onto your fingertips. And you twist. And also here, try to keep that ujjayi breathing going. And gently return to the middle. Same thing on the other side. So now you stretch out your right leg. You place your left foot flat onto the mat. Take it close towards the sitting bones. Keep about a fist width distance between your right leg and your left foot here. Place your left fingertips onto the mat so you can really stretch out, so really create that straight spine for yourself. On the next breath in, you're taking your right arm up. On the out breath, you're reaching for your right toes that are flexed. And then you wrap your right arm around your left knee and you look over your left shoulder. Keep sitting straight, so don't round the spine, but keep that straight spine going. And enjoy a twist towards the left side. Right toes remain flexed. You keep control over your breathing just a little bit longer. And on the in breath, return to the middle. All right. Now move your sitting bones a little bit more to the front. Stretch your arms out towards the front as well. Your knees are pointing towards the ceiling. And then vertebra by vertebra, you're going to lower the upper body towards the floor. until you come to a fully stretched out position. I still have space. Stretch out the legs. Take your feet maybe as wide as the mat. Walk your shoulders under you. Stretch out your arms to the sides and have your hand palms face upwards. Our final pose of today. Don't leave me just yet. Really allow yourself this Shavasana to, it's only a couple of more minutes. This is probably the most valuable part of your practice because now everything that you've worked on gets to settle into the body. It's like this globe that you have with around Christmas time. You have a globe and then there's snow inside and then it's probably a house or a snowman or whatever, and you shake it and then the snow starts to whirl around into the ball. And if you give it time, then it settles down again. And that is exactly what happens in Shavasana. So allow that snow to settle. Maybe breathe in through your nose and out through the mouth. Feel the body getting heavy. Feel it melting into the mat. Relax the muscles of your face. Enjoy your Shavasana. Each out breath, your body becomes heavier, sinks deeper into the mat. Start to invite small movement back into the body. Maybe wiggle the toes, remove the fingers slightly. You want to take your arms over to stretch out. So if you're waking up for a second time this morning, might feel nice, like, ugh. And then gently transition onto whatever side feels comfortable for you. I'm gonna turn onto my right side so you'll be able to see me. Keep your eyes closed. Stay into that bubble. Maybe stay into that globe that I just described for a little bit longer. And use your front hand to push yourself up. And come to a seated position. Find that seated posture that we used at the beginning of our practice, maybe hand palms facing upwards. With your eyes still closed. Bring your hand palms to touch in front of your chest. Press the thumbs into the chest. Really connect with your body. Bring your forehead to your fingertips. And thank yourself for your energy and your commitment also this morning. It was early, but you did it. Namaste. I wish you all a wonderful day. As always, stay healthy, keep practicing, enjoy this probably extra time that you have to step onto your mat a little bit more often. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Stay tuned. I will provide the information on Instagram. And enjoy your day. Take care.